We're at beautiful Stockade Lake in Custer State Park, and I am parked up the ways, going to do a little picnic table chit chat with you, a little follow-up to my video last Sunday where I decided remarriage is not for me. I've only been married one time. I think I made a comment, it sounded like I'd been married more than once. Married 9 years, single for 35, and have come to the conclusion marriage is not for me. But today, I think we are going to talk about, or I know that we're going to talk about, the differences between men and women and what they are supposedly looking for in marriage, especially in our later years. Hope you'll join me. Linda here, Serene and Simple Life, and a serene and simple life day it is. I hope you are having the same. It is absolutely a gorgeous day here with nice shade for the moment. Today, I want to chit-chat a little bit, a follow-up to my video that I did last week on my decision that remarrying is probably not for me, and that I'm not interested unless God would drop a hammer in my lap. So if you didn't already, please go back and watch that so that you get some insight and understanding as to what I'm talking about today. Going to discuss a little bit about men and women, and as we age, our approach to marriage and our needs and wants are different. Now, I want to come from a place of understanding and a place of non-judgment. So if we've got guys watching here, please add your comments too, how you feel, or if why you remarried, and what your interests were in remarrying, if that makes any sense. But before we talk about aging and remarriage, or being divorced and thinking about marrying again, or not ever being married and deciding to get married, it seems like we approach marriage differently even when we're younger. I have been divorced for 35 years. I've only been married one time, and it was for 9 years. I got divorced when I was 32. I am 67. But I was a serial coffee dater, and I dated a lot of different guys, and my perception, which was actually my reality, was that men were very non-committal. They had already been married, divorced in their 30s or 40s, and they were not interested. They're building careers, they're totally content, doing what they do, their hobbies, their interests, their desires, and don't need anybody, really. They're doing fine on their own. Well, flip that table, now in our 50s, 60s, and 70s, and it seems, I've watched some videos. I mentioned last week Wise Elders Insight. They talk about how men who are divorced or widowed late in life tend to remarry quickly. Now, I had an experience with that just recently that gave me, I don't know, it put up some red flags, to tell you the truth. I'll tell you about it in a minute if I can remember. But they talk about men needing a mother figure, a maid, and a manager. I don't know. Is that all so bad? Not really. Especially if you've been married for a long, long time. that works. You know, you get a rhythm that works. So there's no judgment. But they talked about men looking for a caretaker. There's the joke, are looking for a nurse and a purse. I don't necessarily know about that. There's a lot of men who I'm sure have taken care of their finances through the years, and they're not looking for a purse. The nurse part, that can go either way. I mean, I could remarry and I could be the one who needs the nurse. So it's just a generalization, and I don't like opinions that aren't based on research and data. But irregardless, we're just talking about kind of where I'm going with um, what I'm thinking. How things reverse from when I wanted to remarry and now I have no interest. But really, the bottom line is everyone's situation and experiences is different, and it's not a one shoe fits all with your wants and your needs and your roles. But I would love to hear from you down in the comments. Did you remarry quickly after you were widowed or divorced? And how's that working? Not just for you, but how's it working for your spouse? I do have a few notes to keep me on track here. But you know what? Like I said, I don't want to pass judgment, but would men actually admit to, yeah, I was looking for a caretaker and I got one? I don't know. One woman stated in a video, I've loved hard, I've lost hard. Now I've only got time for what is truly safe. And this statement seems to best echo my sentiments. It resonates with me. Again, you got to go back and watch my latest video on my decision about remarrying and why I don't think I want to remarry. I mean, I did a video before that on the thoughts of getting it right and not staying single for the rest of my life, and that I have a lot to offer. But I can still offer without being married. I mean, I can still have a lot to offer. And also, there was some research, that older men tend to gravitate or be interested in younger women. Well, my guess would be that has to do with intimacy and women aging and how we look. Yeah, we don't have the bods we once had when we were 40 or even 50. Oh, darn. But also, on the flip side, women tend to fare well with younger men too, because they're not being a caretaker to them necessarily. That thought has crossed my mind. Boy, if I could find a younger man. I had one guy that I connected with, or I thought I did. Maybe he didn't connect with me, but he spent a lot of time at my place giving me a quote for a mini split in my tiny home. And I really felt a great vibe with him. But could I keep up with him? Probably not. I don't know. Everybody's different. It's not a one size fits all. 30 years difference in age or 20 years difference in age. I'm not going to go there. I would end up being a mom. And I don't want to micromanage or tell somebody what to do in their 40s or 50s or any age, really. But truly, I am opposite of someone who has lived a life of caretaking, their needs not being met, molding to someone else, and actually losing yourself in marriage. And I don't want to go there. I need to be safe here. I have a friend from back in the day who said, I will never remarry if my husband dies. And she was in her 70s when she said this. And I looked at her like, why not? I really like men. I really like men. I find sometimes men are easier to get along with. They're not petty. Trust me, I have those ways about me. So I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about me. And I'm making a general statement. You all know what I'm talking about. Anybody who has any sense, right? Yeah, I'm thinking about something back in the day. I was waiting on a man, and I said I'd rather wait on at a grocery store that I was working on. I'd rather wait on 10 men than one woman. And the woman came up after that, and she says, "I'm sorry, I'm a woman." And I was like, you know what? Case in point. I wasn't talking to you, and I was just having some fun talking to this man. Whatever. I just want you guys to know that. Whether you're looking for a caretaker or not, I still like you. But I don't have that whole lifetime of caretaking and over it like my friend did. And she mentioned about doing laundry and streaks. She's like, I'm over it. I'm like, okay. TMI, right? Just recently, I ran into a wonderful couple in the store where I'm working at Crazy Horse, and married 40 some years. And she was looking at a beautiful white buffalo bracelet, $400. And she said, I have to ask my husband first. And I was like, well, that's nice. I don't have a husband that I need to ask. I didn't say that. I was just being a little stinker about it. So she came back and got to talking with them, and they're just absolutely adorable. But they have a nice history together, which again ties back with my last video. If you've got history together, then you know you're caretaking for each other. But to redo it and take that chance and roll the dice, don't want to go there. So that's where that statement that I just read comes to play. So anyways, I think that's about all I wanted to say on this subject. I'd love to hear from you guys as far as what you think about remarriage. And well, you already did, like in my very first video when I talked about wanting to get married again and get it right this side of heaven. And I have a lot to offer and a lot to give, and I'd like to do that with somebody. Well, I kind of figured out, you know what, Linda, you can do that without getting married. You can still be a giver. So anyways, yep, 20s and 30s, 40s, even early 50s, I thought, boy, marriage would be nice. Now I'm climbing towards 70 and I'm thinking not. So that's it. I've been watching these videos and learning some new things, and I just thought I would share with you some further thoughts on what men are looking for. And hey, what would I be looking for if I remarried? I would want an emotional connection with somebody. I would really want that depth. And I even found earlier in life, that's where men and women are really different, that men don't always want to go deep. And I would want that real deep emotional connection. And because I don't have it now, it's okay. I'm doing life, which brings me to my next video, which is going to be on solitude and enjoying solitude as a single woman. I don't even like to consider myself divorced anymore because it's been 35 years. Yeah, you can add your comments again. I'd love to hear from men on what they think. Would they actually admit to looking for a caretaker? And I did, what I wanted to tell you is I had a gentleman from the channel, so I'm not going to name names here, but he emailed me that he thought I was the one. He quoted scripture, and I come to find out, which he didn't mention in the video, that he's a widow, only about 6 or 7 months. Now, I truly question that, because if I had a spouse and I was married a long time, would I want my spouse to just run out and marry somebody else? He told me how much he loved her in the email and that he would always love her, but he had a dream about me and that I was the one. And then when I emailed him back, I'm like, whoa, friendship. And then I decided, yeah, not even that. I'm not even going to go there. But was he legit? Possibly. Could he have been the one? Maybe. Will I get to heaven? And if I ask God, why didn't you ever send me anybody to remarry? And he's going to tell me, well, I sent you 3 people and you said no. I don't know. There's a joke out there about that. All right, enough of this babbling. I'd love to hear from you. It is a beautiful day in the neighborhood, as I mentioned earlier, and I just find the topic interesting about men and women. And not our men are from Mars and women are from Venus differences, but as we age, how we approach remarrying differently. And a lot of women are over it, did it, done it, don't want to do it again. And that's not my case. But I know that I'm an independent, strong woman, and I'm set in my ways, and I need to stay single unless God shows me something hugely different, because He has given me the strengths that I have now. All right, blessings in your day, joy in your journey and all your decision making, single, married, widowed, divorced. I love you guys. Joy in your journey.